Give me the next 10 minutes and I guarantee you'll learn something that will dramatically improve your Facebook ads ROAS. After $30+ million of my own money spent on Facebook ads, I boiled profitable scaling down to 4 principles you can steal today. So let's get into it. First and foremost, I want to show you guys a little bit of proof. Now, for some reason, Facebook has taken out all-time spend. As we go down this, you see 7,000, 16,000, a couple thousand here, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 12,000, 5,000. I mean, and this is just the first 200, 714. So I'm sure as you guys are scrolling down this and you see this, like I've spent millions and millions and millions of dollars profitably. Okay, so I just bring that up in the first place so that you actually know, so you're talking to someone who's actually done what he's about to teach you. So the first thing we want to focus on is just reducing testing waste. If you think about testing, what are we trying to test? We're trying to test ads, right? The best ads, find the best audiences, and then move those into other campaigns. So what I will do, I'll just show you guys briefly. So let's say, whatever objective you're going for, that's gonna vary, but let's say you're going for sales. What I would wanna do is I wanna do first what I call phase one. So in phase one, we're testing ads. And so what I'll usually do in phase one, I'll label it right here, is we'll do all the same targeting, okay? So I'll use, let's say I'm trying to test 10 different ads or 20 different ads. I'll call this phase one because over time, we're just testing different ads in the same audience, right? The benefit of that is if I, over time, make 100 ads and I'm testing against the same audience, you'll see which ads perform the best because it's the same audience. If you have too many variables, you're not actually testing. So what I'll do is I'll come in here. Let's just say you have a business offer, okay? So I'll come in here, I'll say, all right, I wanna target anyone who is familiar with Tony Robbins, or let's just say frequent travelers, okay? So let's just say hypothetically, our offer, we think this is a good avatar or a good interest. We will then put the ads all in here and test the ads. And then once we find the best ads, we're gonna then try to find the best audiences. Now, how do you know it's the best ad? Because again, it's going towards the same interest. So once I actually build out phase one, okay, so we'll go here and then I'll just close this out. We'll then build phase two. So phase two is gonna be more of a focus on the actual audiences. So we're gonna now start testing different audiences. So we take the winners, so let's say there's 5 winners, like 5 ads that really just blow all the other ads out of the water. Then we're gonna move that into phase two, but have different interests. So let's say one of the interests was Tony Robbins, or excuse me, frequent travelers, like we just said. Let's say another interest is Gary Vee, or let's do this, entrepreneurship is a good one, okay? So what I would do here is, let's say entrepreneurship is one of the interests. Then I come in here and I start creating all the ads to go with the interests. Okay, so I'm just gonna publish this super quickly so you guys can get the point of what I'm trying to do. That did not finish posting because I have to put some stuff in there, but then the point would be is if I go to phase two, I'll come in here, let's just put a website URL so this will publish for the sake of this example. And so you set up your ads, you set up your ad set, you pick the audience, and then what I'm gonna do once that's been picked is I'm gonna go ahead and start changing the audiences depending on how many ads I have, okay? So if I come out here, I'm just gonna get rid of phase one for the sake of example. So phase one, you're testing on the ads. You see which ads outperform the other ones, like better than average lead costs or call costs, whatever it is you're optimizing for. Once you do that, then you go to phase two, and inside phase two, we're gonna create different ad sets. So let's say over here, we have 5 different ads, right? So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 different ads. Then what we wanna do is test those ads in different audiences so we can see the best ads, because we already know these are the best ads, and then we see the best audiences. Then you'll pick the best ads and the best audiences and then move those into higher level CBO campaigns or scaling campaigns, whatever you wanna call it. Now, why is that? Because the top 5% of creatives usually creates 80% of the profit. It's the same thing as retargeting ads. If you're doing retargeting usually costs about 20% of your spend, but you get 80% of the results. So we'll take that and then we'll move that into phase three. So phase three, if we come back here and we create a new campaign, you could call it phase three, you could call it scaling campaign. You're just taking the best ads and the best ad sets and then moving them in there. And then because now you have the best ads with the best ad sets, those are usually what you want to put your most money behind. So phase one and phase two are you're constantly testing. You put stuff in there. If it doesn't perform, you turn it off. You look at the ads that are performing the best. Then you take those ads, you move them into different ad sets, you see which ad sets are performing the best, and then you take the culmination, the mix of the best ads with the best ad sets, and then you move it into a scaling campaign. And that usually is gonna be the best way to actually scale your ads. And it saved me a lot of money over the years because otherwise people are always testing right at the beginning. They're running different ads with different ad sets and they never really know what's the best of the best. And if you think about it, if you're trying to actually find what's the best, you have to have a control, right? So in the beginning, we wanna control the audience. So we have one audience with the ads. Then we want to control the ads, but we want to test different audiences. And then we move both of those into a scaling campaign. Outside of that, the next best thing is to make sure you have a top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. So if you guys come here, this is a bottom of funnel campaign. So when you're looking at bottom of funnel, what that means is you can make it as broad or as narrow as you like, but it's retargeting. It means that the person took some type of action. Now, typically bottom of funnel to me means they put in their email, but they did not book a call, or they got to the sales page, but they did not buy. So if I come down here, mine's a little bit broader than normal, and that's just because I want to get a big enough audience. But if you come down here, you'll see there's about 500,000 people in this audience. So what I've put in here is anyone at all who's seen my Instagram, who's engaged on any of my pages, who's joined my school groups, etc. And then what I do is I exclude anyone who's booked a call or become a client, okay? And then I have to continue, obviously, to update that over time. The goal here is that, okay, they've engaged, but they still have not booked a call, right? So then I'm pushing these people back to book a call. And what I use at the bottom of the funnel is these individuals have seen a lot of my stuff. And so the goal here is then to push them back to testimonials usually. So you see here, these are actual testimonials of clients that I've had, hoping that that will kind of push them back. Now, what I have done here is you see that there's 7 ads live right now. What I do is if those ads don't perform, then I'll come down here and I'll duplicate and try these ads over again. If you see in the beginning, most of these ads, I had a rule that cut off around $10. So that's another huge trick. I'll actually show you right now. You wanna have rules turn on. So I can come in here and go apply existing rule, and I can turn ads off that I've spent $15, have less than 1 lead, it'll turn off. Or I can turn off, if it's at $30 and less than 2 leads, it'll turn off. Now, depending on what I'm running, I might need that to adjust. As you guys can see here, stuff got cut off way too soon. So that means it's a little too low. So I need it to be a little bit higher. So if you're coming back up here, you can see that the average lead cost I'm getting, or messaging conversation I'm getting, is around $14. It's a little higher than I'd like, but that's what I'm getting so far. So I would need better ads. I can't really change the ad set because the ad set is who I'm targeting. It's the people who've taken actions on my page. But this is trying to get those people to book a call. Then you'll see right here, I have my top of funnel. I have 2 tops of funnels. This one right here is pushing to school. And this right here is pushing to a VSL. Now, the one thing I didn't do here that, like, I've gotten a little lazy, and you really should do this, is you want to exclude anyone who's become a lead or anyone who's engaged with your pages before, because technically, if they've engaged with your pages before, they're going to get caught in your middle of funnel or your bottom of funnel retargeting. Really, what I should do is exclude Instagram, Facebook, anyone who's engaged with my social media, because if you're running ads, it's not that every single person you run the ad to has already engaged, but it will make sure not to show the ad to those people again, so that you're maximizing your ad spend. So like even here, the funny part is, as I'm showing this to you on the video, I got lazy and I didn't do that, but that is best practice. You want to make sure that your top of funnel is completely new strangers. You exclude people who have engaged with your social media profiles and like any of your pages. When you get to bottom of funnel, you're doing the opposite. You want to target people who've engaged with your pages, but they haven't booked a call. Then you'll have what I call middle of funnel. And middle of funnel for me, we'll go here. This is people usually who have engaged with my social media. Now, my bottom of funnel, it's a little too broad right now. Usually I wouldn't recommend that, but I needed to get the audience a little bit bigger because it just wasn't spending efficiently enough. It was too small. But usually top of funnel, strangers. Middle of funnel is people who have engaged with your social media platforms or your sales pages, right? Or your websites. And then bottom of funnel is people who have given you their email or phone number, but they have not booked a call or they have not taken a sale. So if you think about it, it's like strangers, people who've engaged with your profiles, and then bottom of funnel is they've given you their phone number and email maybe, but they haven't bought or booked a call. So you're constantly pushing each person through the funnel to take the action you want. If you do that, you're gonna get a lot better results, and it's gonna be for a lot less money than if you did things otherwise, okay? Last but not least, you wanna spend where people buy. So Facebook wants to spend evenly. I never let it do that. So what I mean by that is Facebook will just kind of come in here, and if you look at all the ad sets, it basically, the way this is set up is these are ad set budgets, so it's just gonna spend evenly. What I do is I either will have rules, like I showed you previously, on the ad level or the ad set level. And the reason I do that is I don't want things to keep just spending monotonously if they're not getting results. Because what Facebook will do is a lot of times whatever's getting the highest click-through rate, whatever ad that is, Facebook will send more traffic to that. That's not what I want. What I really want is whatever's getting the most results and then put all the money behind that. So the ways you can do that is either you can create rules, which I showed you earlier, but you also want to come in usually once or twice a day and just turn stuff off that is not spending efficiently. Because end of the day, like the goal for me is not to spend money on all the ads. Like if you come in here, every single ad is off except these two. Why? Because all these other ads did not perform at the level I was hoping. Like they're all higher. This one here is 11 bucks. Now it's only $22, but that's where I want the spend to go now. Now, if none of these perform, I'll just go ahead and turn off the ad set. But I don't just want it to spend efficiently because I'll blow cash. In fact, one of my clients the other day showed me their ad sets, and it was a little bit frustrating because they were blowing a lot of cash, just spending it everywhere, without kind of tightening down the valves and making sure they're spending efficiently, because ads always work. The reason people say they don't work is they don't get a good enough return on ad spend, meaning they're spending too much money to make a sell. If you make a sell with just a limited amount of ad spend, you're gonna always wanna run ads because it's always gonna work. So this is exactly how I was able to spend over $30 million on ads that are responsible for over $115 million in sales. But if you got value from this, you'll love to see my breakdown of how Iman Gadzhi made over $40 million with just one video. You can watch that right here.